We have brokers from all over the map in that chat. Thanks for sharing, guys.
Love it,
Happy
love it, love
Friday.
it. All right, we're on YouTube and we're rolling. A lot of people in California, a lot of people from all over the place. If you're watching this on recording or if you're watching this live, my name is David Rutz, and I'm excited to be with you today. As always the case, I would do this all day long. I started this company to help brokers and to help business owners. So the more we get to talk, the more I get to visit with all of you. Man, I wish we could have a live weekend training every weekend and we all get together and talk about what we're doing and what impact we're making and get to know everybody better. There's nothing better than the relationships. And in this virtual world, Zoom is better than telephone, but it's not the same as live in person, but it'll do. But it's my pleasure to meet you. Hey, listen, we're out to make an impact. We're very competitive, but we're servants first. So we win by serving and by taking care of clients. So if this is your first Zoom, welcome. This is our agent update Zoom. There's not a lot of updates today. We send an email out every week that's got updates in it, and that update went out Monday, and that had some updates in it. So I'll just give you a few updates, and I have a tip for you. And then we're going to go to your live Q&A. I encourage all of you again to come early to this on Fridays. Come out at 11:20 a.m. Eastern so you can visit and get to know some people and share. Don't just listen. Don't just be a fly on the wall. Share a little bit. It's never required, but we, pretend it's a family barbecue and you want to be there and just share. Um, the more we can interact, the more you'll feel at home and the more this will feel like a community. So we're really going out of our way to try to make that happen. In absence of live events, at least we can have live interaction. The refer a friend feature for funding is in the back office. We brought that up last week. I encourage you all to send it to yourself. And in doing so, you'll see what people are going to get. It's working. We encourage you use it. Obviously, anytime we make a tool, it doesn't matter if you have a nail gun, if you're not a roofer, right? You got a nail gun. I got a beautiful nail gun sitting in my tool room, and I haven't used it in probably 10 years since we finished our basement. It's a beautiful tool, not getting utilized. So we create good, I'm not a construction guy, right? We create these great tools for you as brokers. They're not any good sitting in a cabinet, right? They're good to be used. So share, use the tools to move on. Obviously, brokers, you know this. This week's schedule, Magguire Tuesday, Nick Thursday, same as last week. What a great duo they are for our broker overview. So we encourage you to utilize that as an opportunity to bring on new brokers and have new brokers learn about our business, of course. As you all know, PayPro last Thursday, which was yesterday, we did not do a payment processing Zoom. There's a lot in the YouTube page, and that takes me to the next announcement. And that is the DAC YouTube page is getting a refresh. We're moving all the live videos under their appropriate playlist. So you'll look for them there. You can always click on live and see the last lives. We also have them in the playlist. So my encouragement is you go to the playlist you're looking for and you'll see them. Also, we're adding explanation to each video. They take a few days to process. So, it takes a couple days to get those summaries uploaded, but usually within a week or so, any of the lives from the prior weeks will have a new thumbnail, meaning a screen image, and also a summary so that you can search and find things a little better, scroll through without having to watch a video to see what's on the video. Hopefully that'll help. We've got a lot of content. The LMS, update on the LMS, all the slides are done, some of the recordings are done, and I was hoping to have it done before this week started. It's not done, but it's in progress, and all I can say is as soon as it's done, you'll know, and we all want it live faster than yesterday, right? So it's just a big undertaking, and it's under development right now, and it'll be out soon. Hopefully sooner than later. Obviously sooner than later, but hopefully sooner than sooner. So we're on it. Just know that's our top priority right now. It's our top priority to get that live. We know that'll help in the funding, it'll help in broker development and broker growth, etc. Refer a friend, links to sites. I mentioned the links to all your replicated broker sites are in the DAC Resource Center on the main homepage. I mentioned that last week. It can't hurt to mention again today. A lot of people email support. What's my link? What's my link? It's there for you. It's always just the website / your ID number. Whatever page David Allen Capital has, if you like that page and you want to send that directly, copy that page, paste it, add your ID number, make it one link, and there you go. You want to send someone right to line of credit, pull up that line of credit page, paste it, put / your ID number on the end, make sure that whole thing is now a hyperlink, send that to someone, and they'll go right to the line of credit page. All right. So that's it for updates today. The tip I would have for you today, I put a post up on Facebook today. I encourage you all read it. It's an image. In fact, I'm going to share the image. It'll take me a second to grab it, but I would encourage you take that image and you use it to, hang on 1 minute, I clicked the wrong link on a different computer. You go in and you use the image as a little training. Okay. We basically lead with the core rate. Looks like I'm not going to log on to Facebook right now. Authentication, all that kind of stuff. I'm on a different computer. So it's right there about leading with the core rate. Now, this is what I wanted to talk about today. I've been doing the funding this week with Wade, Brad, team. I've been the one presenting to the clients and looking at all the offers. It's been a joy. I've really enjoyed it. I love talking to business owners about what we're doing. It's also been eye-opening in the number of times a smaller funding doesn't turn to fruition. And the reason for that, obviously, is the smaller the business, the more desperate the business generally. Unless they're in growth mode, they're usually in survival mode. And survival mode is not good to take money. Unless that money is going to take the business to the next level, it's expensive. And businesses in survival mode have low average daily balances, which means they get lower approvals. And they also have higher risk. So there's much higher costs. And they're out there at the 1.5, 1.45 pricing. So they get 10 grand and they got to pay back 15 in 5 months, right? 4 months. And they're desperate, needing 10, some of them. How are they going to pay back 15 in 4 months when they're already spending every dime they bring in now? How are they going to help forward that payment? So, our providers fortunately come up with a payment they can give them and it works, but it only works in the right situation. So this is what I wanted to talk about today. The tip is, what inspired this was my prior to prayer time this morning. I just had this visual come to me and sometimes sit in quiet. God shares his will. That's what I believe, right? I believe this earth didn't just come from nothing. I believe it was created. And it's hard to take something big boom. I'm not saying there wasn't a big boom, but I think that big boom was creation. It talks about it in Genesis. But that big boom, as things go out, there's rules and there's principles, right? And one of those things is I believe there's a creator. And even if you say, no, I believe in science, okay, well, something started and boomed. Where'd that come from? And, it's hard to argue with the creator. It takes more faith to believe there isn't a creator than there is for some, but that's beside the point. But in my private time today, because I believe if there is a creator, then I also believe that, and I do believe in God and I believe in Jesus, that I believe that what the Bible says is true. And Jesus said, everything I say to you, I got from my Father. I listen to him. I pray. I go off and pray. He speaks to me and I share with you. And he said that himself. I happen to believe that's true. Doesn't hurt anyone if it's not. I happen to believe it is. So I listen all the time. And I'm in my listening sometimes regularly. I hear what I think is God's will. It's not just ideas of David's. Unless I'm going there with an idea, then it's common sense and I'm really crafting it. But sometimes I just silence out, and I'm just seeking God, and I'll get things about my family, and I'll get things about me, and I'll get things about all kinds of stuff. And sometimes it's about business. And today I had this visual. And it was really a heart space for all of you. Professional brokers don't take responsibility for the outcome of the conversation. They take responsibility for the outcome of their preparation for a conversation. They take responsibility for their outcome of knowledge of a product, but they don't take responsibility for the outcome of a conversation if they were prepared, because they know their product, and there is no product that's best for everybody. And so the visual I had today was a kind of a yearning for all of you who are out there going for it. Sometimes people think we got to change the product, or they think they got to get better at selling the product, convincing about the product. And to the contrary, I believe the exact opposite. I think, in fact, the more you sell, the less you believe in our product. The more you have to promote it, the less you believe in it. And if you believe in the product wholeheartedly, then, like, I believe God is real. That's where this all comes back to. I believe God is real. So I believe when I sit in silence and just listen, I really do believe I'm hearing God's will for me. I believe that. So if I don't believe that, then I'm acting like an atheist. If I'm not going to believe that and listen to God's will, and I don't believe everything in the Bible is to be true, then I'm acting like an atheist by ignoring it, by doing my own thing every day and just saying, hey, I'm doing it with integrity and honesty, then I'm doing my own thing. Then I must not believe in all that stuff that the Bible says is real, that if you just stop and listen, God will give you direction and God will give you his will for your life. I believe that, so I listen. And because I believe that, I listen a lot, right? Not as much as I should. We all get in automatic mode. But when I'm given God as the GPS, then I always get things, and I'm obedient to listen to it now. I not always in my earlier days, but now it's like I trust in it 1,000%. So because I trust in it, I listen. And if I didn't listen, I must not believe what I'm spouting, that I believe in God and Jesus and all that, right? I'd be an atheist if I didn't believe what it says. So it's the same thing with this funding. If I didn't believe this funding was good, then I shouldn't be able to tell someone you shouldn't take the money. See, I'm not trying to make a commission. I'm trying, just like I'm talking about God, I'm not trying to convert any of you to my faith. I believe in it. And if you ever want to talk about it, I'm happy to talk about it. But I'm just sharing a foundation that goes over to our funding, which is this. If you believe you got to sell this to people, you don't believe in the product stands on its own. You don't believe in the foundation of our product, that it is the best funding available for the 90 percenters, not for the bank loans. I was listening to a guy on Magguire's call last week. He said, everyone I talk to is, and he may be on, everyone I talk to wants long terms and all that. And hey, that's, if they're eligible for bank funding, they want a longer term, they should go get it. They're part of the 10% who can get funding at a bank. But this product stands on its own. It was created for those the bank can't help. So if they need bank rates and bank terms and they can qualify for bank, where do they go? There. It's not your job to sell them on our funding instead of a bank. That'd be ridiculous, right? Just like a bank manager, I think Magguire talked about this Wednesday, a bank manager would never tell someone who's buying a home to get a business loan, a 5-year loan, when there's a 30-year mortgage with better terms, right? So our product is for the 90% who can't get funding at the bank. So let it stand on its own. If it doesn't fit your client, it's not because it's a bad product. It's because they don't have their business in a position that can benefit from our funding. That's all. You know, there's a number one guy in the draft pick today. I saw a quote today. His mother used to teach him, say, if you're the best player in the gym, you're in the wrong gym. You got to find another gym. If you want to be the best basketball player you can when you're in Little League, if you're the best kid in the gym, you're not getting better. You're not being pushed. Find another gym and make sure you fit. And it'd be the same thing for anything in life. If you're wanting to find a spouse or boyfriend or girlfriend, and you're at a group of 50 people, a singles event, and you go there and you got to change who you are and pretend and wear fake watches and rent a car for the night to make it look like you're making more than you are. And you got to pretend something. You got to, change who you are to try to attract someone. No, you don't. Just be you. And if you don't fit with anyone there, find another group to go and then find another group till you find the right fit. Stand on who you are, stand on being who you are, right? And you'll find someone eventually the right fit. You don't change who you are to fit people. You be who you are and you change who the people you're talking to till you find the right fit. It's the same thing with our funding. You don't change the funding to match what their needs are. No, we don't do that. We change who we're talking to meet our funding. And so your responsibility is to know the product, believe in the product. You're not responsible for the outcome. You're just responsible of where you're doing the outreach. If you're focused on people who've been in business 5 months and doing 15,000 a month, that's not the right focus. Can we help them? Yes, but it's not the right focus because 95 out of 100 of them are desperate and struggling to stay in business. And getting money isn't going to help many of them. 5 out of 100, maybe they're in growth mode and they could take that 15 grand and they could turn it into 100. Great. They don't mind paying 22 back for that 15. But for the ones who are this flat and their sales aren't growing and they've been in business 4 years and they're still only doing 15,000 a month and they're not really good with money and they're not strong, they need business training. They don't need money. They need strategy change. They don't need money. They need consulting. They don't need money. They need to fix the issue before they fund for the problems, right? So we want to lead with the core rate product because now you got a 2-year-old business. Again, we can help with our flex rate, but I'm telling you as a broker, pro brokers already know this. They're already leading with 50,000 and higher. They don't even want the aggravation of a 20,000 monthly business, right? But they're 50,000 and higher is where they go, and they'll average 100 to $150,000 fundings, right? But others don't go there because they don't yet believe in the product enough. So they believe, let's start where there's someone small, like a giggle customer. They're really needy, and I can be a solution for them. No, you might be the final nail in their coffin. You might be a solution, but you might also be the final nail in their business coffin. I was talking to a business yesterday, and they were approved for 15,000. I was talking to the person. I won't share details about anything, but the business owner said, I need 21,000 or I'm going to go out of business. And in talking to this person, I said, what is it? And there's some changes in their marketplace, some licensing requirements and stuff. And if this business owner doesn't get 21 grand, they can't buy all these licenses that they need to keep doing business in the industry they're in. And they were only approved for 15. And they're like, if I get 21, I don't even know if I can, how I'll pay the 21 back. Now, is it my job to get her to take the 15 grand so that broker can make a commission? Is that really my job? If so, I'm not available. I'm not for hire. Right. But if it's my job to say, okay, well, maybe there's another way, because if you're not going to be able to pay the 21 back, even if you got it, because all you're doing is putting it toward licenses to keep in business where you are. Maybe there's a different alternative here. Let's think of something else other than just taking this 21 grand, because there's got to be another solution. She doesn't fit our product. Money isn't her issue. Her issue is a business that's not making her enough money, that more money is only going to, she even said, if I don't take this money, I'm out of business. And if I take this money, I'll be out of business faster. Okay, so you're right. So let's talk about another solution. What's the other solution? And the other solution is go back to the people who've said you got to have these licenses to keep doing business with them and get time. Ask them for time. Ask them for a runway of 6 months or 8 months that you just don't have the cash flow available to buy all those licenses right now, unless they want to advance you in future business. Have a discussion with them and be transparently honest. Well, I may lose the business. You're going to lose the business anyway if you don't get the license, right? And you're going to lose your business if you do get the license and take this 21 grand, right? Yeah. So your only alternative right now, unless you can come up with another, is having a conversation with the owner. Now, that does not turn into a funding, right? Doesn't turn into a funding, but it turns into put your head on the pillow at night and know you did the right thing. So if you're looking at, I got to turn them into an offer, I got to turn them into a funding, hey, I'm earning commissions. I get it. You need money to live. You need to have success. Okay, expand who you're talking to. Talk to more people. Talk to larger businesses. Talk to established businesses. Don't put it on the product to win for you. Don't put it on the product to be the right thing for every business, because it's not. Don't put it on the product to deliver a client when it shouldn't get the client, when they shouldn't take the money, right? Don't put it on the product and don't put it on yourself. Don't. Instead, you're a matchmaker. You've got this amazing funding platform called Bank Breezy that finds the best alternative capital provider of the top 20 providers. But sometimes those offers suck because the package performance right now is not good. And in order for a business to give the or provider to give the money, they're going to charge them 50% and fees up front. And they got to have it pay back in 5 or 6 months because it's so risky. So they'll give them an offer, but it's an offer many shouldn't take. So I'm not downplaying our funding and saying it's bad. I'm saying our funding is awesome, but I'm saying sometimes the audience is not the right audience. We're talking to the wrong audience. We're not, you know, I grew up and I loved the Violent Femmes and I loved the Beach Boys, and in the 80s I loved punk music, and then I loved beach music, right? And then I loved classic 70s. Country, I was not interested in country. Now I love country, right? Back then I was like, turn that stuff off, right? Put me some beach music or some punk music on, right? It's the 80s. I want to bop my head. I don't want to hear, right? But yet other people were line dancing, having a blast. So the wrong audience does not like Garth Brooks. The right audience loves him. Well, guess what? Some of you don't know who Garth Brooks is. He's like your grandpa's age now for some of you. But our funding is not the right fit for many audiences. So don't blame the funding and don't try to make the funding fit. Square peg, round hole. Find businesses that fit our funding. They got to have our minimum qualifications. Yeah, but then you also have a need of funds that makes a benefit of the funds that makes sense over the cost. Okay. And I say this because I talked to a lot of businesses this week who shouldn't have even been applying. Right. That's the reality. Now, I didn't talk them out of the funding, but many of them got declined. And then many of them who got the offer said, hey, I'm not going to pay that much. I don't have a good use. I just wanted money on the side. So we got to do a better job, brokers, of communicating the use of our funds, what it's for. This is growth funds. It's leverage. It's leverage, right? We had another client who got approved for 400 and something $1,000 and said, well, I'm looking for prime interest rates. You can't get prime at your bank, right? Misled by the broker. So we've got to do a better job, brokers, of transparently sharing. We're not needy. You are not, you've got the best funding product for 90% of the businesses out there. But many of them should not take money because money doesn't solve their issue. Now, the ones who should take money, they got growth opportunities. They're in they need a rescue play, but if they get it, they're going to be able to survive and keep growing. The cost of capital is out better than the benefit. You know how you make that happen? Core rate. We had a funding 400,000. We could have got them. I'm going to say this price. I don't ever expect to see it again. We could have given that client $400,000 at 1.11, $440,000. Now we would have made third commission, 1/3 the commission, but 400,000 at 1.11. Is that crazy? Yeah, now I wouldn't ever expect that, but and they weren't looking for funding, they were looking for a line of credit. So they did not want it. So even when you get the best product we ever have, it's not the right fit for certain people. I can't go, oh my God, I must be awful at explaining our funding because they didn't take that amazing product. No, they didn't want that amazing product. It wasn't the right fit. I'm not responsible for that. You're not responsible for that. Now, the good news is they got approved for a nice line of credit, and they're going to have a line of credit and they'll be able to use it forever, right? So the audience and the product's amazing for the right audience. 80% of the businesses out there are the right audience. 80 of the 90, I should say. So 72% of all businesses are the right audience. The best way for you to know is lead with the core rate. If you lead with the core rate, you'll fall to the flex rate. You'll have someone go, "Oh, I don't qualify for that." Oh, we've got other funding we can help you with as well. But if you lead with the core rate, you're going to attract those who qualify for the core rate, and then you're going to get 80% take the offer that they get, and it's for good reason. And they'll have a good use of funds, they'll have good renewals, and they'll have growth from it because you're leading with the core rate. So lead with that. You're not responsible for the outcome if they apply or don't apply. You're not responsible if they take the money or don't take the money. It's got to be the right audience, the right fit at the right time. So, as much as I can say that if I'm not willing to listen to God, I must not believe he's real. And he doesn't talk anymore, even though Jesus said, I'm sharing with you what he shares with me. And when I leave, I'm going to send an advocate and a counselor called the Holy Spirit, and you'll be able to speak to God and hear from God as well. And so I either believe Jesus is the Son of God and that's all real, or I don't. And if I do, then why wouldn't I want that counselor speaking to me? Why would I be so ignorant to say I believe in Jesus, but I'm not going to listen to him? I'm not going to listen to that holy. I'm too smart. I know he's real and he dies, Son of God, but I'm not going to listen. Well, it's the same thing with this. If I really believe the funding product is great and the foundation is great, and I don't mean to compare them, but I'm talking about when you have faith in something, you're not responsible for the outcome when you share that. You're just responsible to share it and find, and you don't change that. You don't change that message to fit the audience. You change the audience you're sharing it with. You change if you're trying to catch salmon, you don't fish in your local pond. You go to the Great Lakes or the ocean. If you're trying to fish tuna, you're not going to find that in Lake Michigan. Sorry. I know you can catch some big salmon there, big sturgeon, 6 foot long fish, but it won't be a tuna. They're not in Lake Michigan, right? It's the same thing. You don't have to go elephant hunting here. A $50,000 business is not a huge business. 50,000 a month. If you're a local restaurant and you've been in business and you're doing 50,000 a month, you're struggling. You're not making bucho bucks. Costs a lot for food and costs a lot for rent and all that. So most businesses are doing a lot more than 50 if it's a retail. So where do you go? Every business who's renting a place in your town needs to know about you. Do you lead with the DoorDash driver? No. Do you lead with the person who's got the food truck and that's all they do, and which is great? You can offer it to them, but you know going in, unless they got 10 food trucks, they're only working weekends. You know they don't have a lot of sales, and you know that if they're barely making it now, us getting them money, unless they're going to buy another truck and expand, unless it's expansion, it's not the good use of funds. So expansion capital, if it's flex rate, it needs to be expansion. And then over 50,000, it can be a rescue play or expansion. They're all good at that point. So lead with the core rate. Don't change the product for the customer. Change the audience you're fishing in. Change the lake you're fishing in if you want to catch the right fish, right? That's all. And then fish. You want to do more funding? If you want to make a grand this week, fish in the right pond and fish a lot. That's all. Well, David, I want to make 5 grand. Okay. You want to catch tuna? No problem. Fish in the 50,000 a month and up and talk to a lot of businesses. You're going to find 1 out of 40 is ready for funding right now. So know the product, talk to enough businesses. How do you talk to them? Figure it out. Our training talks about how to canvas, how to call, how to text, all those things. We teach about it. Where do I buy leads? We've already said a zillion times, don't buy leads. Leads are every business in America and in your strip malls that's got an office for rent is a lead. You don't need to buy it. Go introduce yourself to them. I don't know them. You don't know the leads you're going to buy either. Well, I want to buy leads where they've already said they want funding. Yeah, guess what? When they said they wanted funding, they've already been hit 100 times by other people. If you buy those leads, I'm telling you, every application you get will have already been declined 15 times by 20 other brokers. And you'll get them, oh, I got an application. And it'll go declined, already declined multiple times. Man, these leads aren't that good. That's why we say don't buy them. Nobody's got leads. Nobody's got leads. They don't exist. Nobody's doing it. Every lead company I've said, hey, if your leads are really good, I'll give you 5% for every funding you bring forward. You'll average 50,000 of funding if they're good leads. You'll make 2,500 a lead rather than give me 20,000 leads for $2,000. How about get one funding out of those 2,000 leads? If it's that good, you make a lot more. No, no, no. We don't work on performance because you've sold those leads to 5,000 people and nobody is succeeding with them. And you just sell to the next guy who's willing to buy leads. Don't buy leads. I can't say it enough. Do not, do not, do not. Who do you buy leads from? You don't. Leads are in your neighborhood. Leads are in your backyard. Leads are all over town. If it worked, I'd be telling you all go buy 1,000 leads. And I think how many applications we'd have. I'm telling you, don't do it. And sometimes they work. So we're costing us a little bit of business by saying don't buy leads, but we're saving all of you a lot of money from buying leads. Don't do it. Don't do it. I've never had one broker succeed with it in 10 years. Not one in 10 years. How many? Not one. Don't buy leads. Your leads are in your backyard. Your leads are in your phone book. Your leads are in your local directory. Your leads are in your local Google search. Get to know business owners, move them from lead to engaged lead to ready to apply lead. Leads are people. Get to know about their business, share about theirs. Okay, I know that was a long, long thing, but my heart is warm for all of you that I want to see you win. Pro brokers, you already know everything I just said, but maybe you're still trying to sell the product to people because maybe funding's new for you. It's really simple. If I got to sell the product, the customer is not the right fit. I shouldn't have to convince someone against their will or educate them. Yes. Convince them. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So I'm excited about the clients who took funding this week, and I'm excited about the number who are still in the offer stage, and I'm super excited about the future of fine tuning our offers to attract the right businesses in higher percentages. Now, I haven't seen any of you because I got my notes on screen. So any questions from anybody about anything or any comments? And
Lots
while I'm
of
waiting to
positive.
hear, go ahead.
I was just going to say lots of positive comments in the chat. All questions are answered there. And we do have one hand up, Katie Sprinkle. We can go to Katie if you want to unmute yourself.
Hello, all.
Hi, Katie.
So, great news. I got my stepdaughter and her hubby are new brokers. They just started this week. We just did onboarding yesterday. I'm so happy and proud of them. That's it.
That's awesome. It's wonderful building with family. And so congratulations. Excited for you guys. Welcome aboard.
And Samuel
Sprinkle
Brewer,
Spa.
you can go
Thanks,
ahead and unmute
Morgan.
yourself.
Hey, David. I've been with this company for about 3 weeks now, maybe 4 weeks.
Oops, Sam, we lost you. I'll request to unmute you again if you can unmute.
Okay, there we go.
There you are.
Thank you for having me. I've been with the company for about 3 or 4 weeks now. I talked to my warm market. I got friends that are business owners. I've been talking to people in my area, posting in Facebook groups. I scrape leads on Google and Yelp for businesses and been emailing them as well. I'm just curious to see what other kind of avenues I could do because I've gotten I think 3 people who have started to fill out the application, but they didn't go ahead and actually get the funding. So from there, what do you recommend? And then I do have a follow-up question after you answer the first one.
Without seeing exactly precisely how you're doing it, how often you're doing it, I would say keep doing more of the same. You're doing the right activities. I don't know what your emails are saying, how many emails are getting opened, what your open rate is. There's a lot of stuff behind that because what it really boils down to, as we've said in trainings, and you sound like you understand this, what you're saying. This is for everyone else's benefit. A lead is someone who's a business owner who can be approached. An engaged lead is someone who's been communicated with, who understands our product. Until they're an engaged lead, they're not going to become an application. And just putting a post up or just putting up a video, those are all things to attract engaged leads. There's no question. It's all good activities to do. But I didn't hear you say you canvassed your local town. So if you did, I didn't hear it, but I would highly encourage. Number one, warm market every business. Number two, tell non-business owners that you're a business funder. They'll refer you people. Number three, canvas as a customer. Number four, canvas your local area. Those are the four most important things to do first. Then email marketing, all those other things. So if you haven't done those first four, I would encourage you to circle back and do those.
Okay.
And then if are you using an email? I would say to anyone I was coaching, I'd say, are you using an email that you can tell your open rate?
Yeah, I'm using Google Workspace, and then I use a mailing like extension through Google Sheets that has like a open rate, close rate,
Okay.
fail rate, stuff like that.
Okay. So then I would look at what type of open rate are you getting?
Let me see. I can actually just send out some emails yesterday. Let me pull it up for you.
And while he's doing that, the subject line guys, as we talked about in our training, one-to-one emails are far more successful because you can make the subject specific to them. Open rate comes from subject lines, not from quality of email. Your email could be amazing, doesn't change the open rate. The packaging gets kids to choose it, right? And what the Christmas package with the right wrap turns into so much more than the wrong wrapping paper when you're a kid, big bows and big colors and right. Same thing with the subject line. Business owners are swamped. They're busy. They don't want to read their email. They're just fulfilling their necessity. They're not, hey, I got nothing better to do. Let me read my email. They're like, crap, I haven't done my email yet. I got to make sure there's not a customer there or something. What's there? And they're looking quick, scanning next, scanning next. So subject line needs to stand out. If not, doesn't matter how good the email is. And even if it
Okay.
gets opened, it may not get read because then the next thing is how long's the email? If you look, so give some eye tests. Just quickly, first of all, look at the subject line, look at the open rate, and then click on your email real quick from your phone. And if that's like, oh my gosh, look at all that, or from the screen, look at all that, it's not going to get read. You know that they're busy. They have no interest in an interruption without a quick summary. So the shorter the email, the better. So some of those things create impact. And then the other thing I'd say is you follow up with a phone call to those who've opened the email.
Okay.
If you've got open rate, you want to be watching that and go, okay, Lisa opened the email. Let's assume she hasn't read it in full, but something about the subject line made her open. I'm going to reach out to Lisa. You don't have to say, hey, I saw you just opened my email. You don't want to feel like you're spying on them, but you can just say, I happen to send you an email as well, and I'm just following up. Wanted to introduce myself.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I've
And
done a few follow-up emails. I've sent 385 and I got a 15% open rate. I know that my subject, I've had to change my email like 3 or 4 times so far to get the proper subject line and the proper text in the email. So I've been trying to figure that out. And when like I have an email that bounces, I'll read it and like I'll see how messed up it is in the actual email itself, and then I adjust it accordingly that way.
well, you're fine tuning, right? You're tuning the dial. So 385 have gone out. You said what type of open rate? 15%?
Yeah, so like 57 or so.
So 57 have opened. Let's assume one-fourth read it. So you
Yeah,
get 20,
4% clicked it.
20 engage. How many clicked it?
4%, so 17.
So 17 click to learn more at your website.
Yep.
Those 17 should get a phone call.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Magguire system. What you just described is Magguire system. Email,
Okay.
who clicked, give them a call or send them a text.
Okay.
So that's great. You got great analytics there that you can work from. So, you got a handful of people. When you've had 40, you've clicked on that site, you should have a funding.
Okay. And thanks, Katie. I did not know that 15% was a good percentage, so I appreciate that. And then my follow-up question, David, is I know there's not a
Well,
non,
let me just say this.
yeah.
15% is a good percentage in bulk email. It's horrible one-on-one email.
Okay.
So that's why the subject line, one-on-one, if you could say, what takes me more time sending, now, if you send 10,000 emails with 15% open rate and a 4% click rate, come on, that's awesome, right? So you sounds like a great mass email subject line and mass email. You're getting great numbers for a mass email.
Mhm.
But what's better, sending 20 private emails a day with a private subject line and creates a personal relationship, or sending out 40 in a bulk email field. So,
Okay.
do the math. If you're, some people say, hey, by the way, I'm testing an email system right now. I hired a company to test an email because we test and then teach.
Hmm.
Until I get a mass email system, we're not teaching one. But I'm testing one right now that they're going to send 3,000 emails out for me. They have a way to make my subject line private. It's costing a lot of money, and I don't know if it'll work. I assume it won't, but I got to test it and prove it doesn't.
Okay.
And I'm always trying to find ways that we can teach all of you and go, hey, we got this program, everybody. But one-on-one emails, I sent 10 last week and got an application out of it.
Okay.
10
Cool.
one-on-one emails. So
Cool.
I still believe in the one, and I didn't know any of them. I didn't know any of those 10. Those are
Okay.
10 strangers. But the subject line and the email was all about, I want to know about your business so I can promote you. I also want you to know about my business in case I can ever help you. That was the email. It wasn't a business funding now email.
Well, I use ChatGPT to write it out, and then I had it do like the parentheses or whatever it is to make sure that it is personalized per business owner. So it's not kind of like a spammy email. It still has like, hey Jim, and then you at, I don't know, Universal Rainbow or whatever, like whatever the business name is called. So it is more personalized, but I do understand where you're coming from
Yeah.
about the mass email.
Keep playing with it, and it sounds like you get some good numbers. You just need, now, if that's good, how do you get it to 4,000 instead of 400? Because you're
Right.
getting pretty good click-through rate, as Katie said, and click rate.
Okay, cool. And my
Well
second,
done. Keep coming, keep trying, and feel free to reach out to me personally. I've got
I
some
will.
clients calling me that I'm ignoring right now.
I will definitely do that, David. Thank you. And then my second question is, I know that there's a non-exclusive clause in the policies and procedures. So are we able to work with another company that does more like maybe personal credit card funding instead of like
Of
business
course.
funding?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're welcome. You're an independent broker. What we don't allow is you to communicate with DAC. It's called cross-line promotion, not to promote your other products into brokers of DAC, or DAC customers. So if you want to be a concrete salesperson and business capital at the same time, great. But don't go tell all the DAC brokers they should sell concrete and come
Okay.
work in my concrete sales team, and or my credit repair team.
It was more so like credit repair on one side, business funding on the other side. That's kind of what I was thinking of.
That's totally fine. What we can't do is teach. You couldn't promote the credit repair to DAC brokers. That's all.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yep. And I'd be careful what you are. A lot of our funders, they pull FICO score as a minimum, but there's other ways to find out if that FICO is legit or not. Because so many people now are, you can change everyone listening right now could go challenge everything on their credit just by sending a letter to TransUnion, TRW, whoever it is, pay nothing for it. And it doesn't work as good as credit repair companies. I'm not saying that, but everyone on here could say, I never paid that late. I never paid that late. I never paid that late. That's not mine. That's not mine. You can dispute everything. And if the company doesn't reply, it's pulled off your credit report. And every lender knows that. Every lender knows out there that there's FICO scores that are bumped up because things have been removed. And they can look at when was it removed, how fast. They're looking at late payments on other things. So Giggle doesn't even look at your FICO score. They look at your Verizon phone bill and your car payment, and they're looking at other things. FICO score doesn't even matter to them anymore. They said it's been so washed down and abused. So that's unrelated to what you're saying. But be careful, if we tell people it's FICO score alone, and we've just been able to edit their FICO score by changing it somehow with cleaning up their credit, it doesn't mean they're going to be able to get approved with us, because our lenders are sophisticated and have other ways as well. So be careful with that. I see Queen put her hand down. Sorry, Queen. Did we out talk your time? And anyone else? There you go. Hands back up.
Hello, David. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I thank you so much for everything that you shared this morning. Um, I'm going to, how shall I say, filter what I've been feeling the last 2 weeks or so through what you shared this morning. A while ago, someone shared something with me, and I've held it near to my heart. And they were talking about business, and they said, anyone you come in contact with, if you don't tell them what you're doing, then they don't know. So while I'm out and about, if I see a business owner, with a sign on the truck or a t-shirt or whatever, one of the first thoughts that run through my mind is, they don't know what I've got. And so I make an effort to say something to them, give them a card, blah, 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 whatever. But based on your quiet time today, I'm going to take that thought and rinse it with what you're saying and make sure that I get a better quality client, if you will. So thank you for that.
And thank you, Queen. And by the way, I've seen you had some apps coming in. That's awesome. It's not disparaging. I don't want to sound like I'm disparaging a smaller client. I'm trying to protect them from getting a bad situation. Sometimes, we don't need to exercise harder. Sometimes we need to eat better, right? So sometimes it's not money. It's not more output or more data of input. It's change of strategies. If a business is bigger, we can help. They usually have more strategy in place. So it's one of those things where a lot of our brokers are selling the product, trying to make it fit for every business, and it doesn't. It only fits a business that is wanting to grow or they're in a rescue play. But if we can solve that short-term rescue, they're going to keep flourishing. Without those two things, they should not get money from us, and we should not try to make our product fit. It doesn't fit. So we don't change the product to fit the customer. We just talk to different audiences and more audiences and find more who fit. We got a lot of great giggle customers who benefited from the money and do well, but most don't. 90% of the people who apply for giggle never get the funding, right? 60% get approved. Of them, only 30% or 25 or 30% take the money. It's just not a real good product for most businesses, but some that's perfect for them because their transmission just blew in their DoorDash driver. And without that transmission repaired, they don't get to drive. And so they need that $1,000 and we get them back on the road. So there's times like that. It's great. But most businesses don't take the giggle offer. When you got thousands of apps, you're going to do hundreds of fundings, but it's going to take thousands of apps. So if you lead with that, it's going to be a discouraging business to talk to 10 giggle customers, because even if 6 got approved, only 1 or 2 is going to take the money. And you're like, man, I'm answering all these questions and then I make $30 when they do take the money. Yeah, that's why we say don't lead with it. We have it, but don't lead with it. I'm saying the same thing for our flex funding. The average funding is going to be under 20 grand, and it's a lot of questions, a lot of frustrations, a lot of bad situations. And so there's a part of me that when I launched the company, we didn't fund anyone unless they had 2 years in business. We just didn't do it. And we've expanded to try to have offerings for everyone, but we are not saying lead with that. In fact, don't lead with it. Lead with the core rate product. All right. Any other questions or comments from anybody? I don't see anything else. All right, let's get back at it. I've had 3 clients call me while we were talking. So those are your clients. I'm going to call them back and see what questions they have about their